You know what it is, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
You know who it is, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
Odie, Mari, Sodi, Maurice.
Mari Sodi, Mari Sodi.
Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
Hey, oh.
Yes, Mo?
Are you ready?
Let's go!
Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy. It's the Black and Snerdy podcast with Odie and Maurice.
I wish I had known that the speaker wasn't up as loud as it should have been normally, but it's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
Technical difficulties.
As long as y'all can hear that, that's all that matters to me.
Ooh.
I don't know what that is.
We're having some interference. No me gusta.
Yeah. Still technical difficulties. It's okay. We're working on it. Welcome to another episode of the Black and Snerdy podcast, the only podcast where two black and snerdy people get together to talk about all types of stuff. My name is Maurice, aka Kid Licorish.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned sexy nerds, or snerds as we say. And we are here with another installment to hopefully bring some joy in your life. Or some
joy.
Fun. Or
revelry.
Whatever the adjective is, hopefully we're bringing it to you.
Yeah.
How are you doing this week?
I'm having a funky good time. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay.
Okay, good.
Yes, so how about we start things off with a little bit of Q&A with O&M. Questions.
All right. I'll give you this one. Since you are such a hater.
What?
For my shuffling.
Oh, yeah. Your shuffling of two cards. Yeah. Anyhow, what would be your ideal place and time for a big What would be your ideal place and time for a big family reunion? Well, funny enough, my family just had a family reunion this summer. I did not attend for reasons out of my control. I would say 4 years from now, in Barbados, obviously, that would be the best time. I was thinking if I would want to go to a family reunion for my mother's side of the family. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen a lot of them in years, and
it's a complicated.
Yeah,
it's complicated.
Many complex moving pieces.
But I think at some point it might be nice to, people who you might want to reconnect with, like maybe you have some cousins.
There's probably only two cousins that I would want to connect with.
Yeah.
And that's Chaz and Paris. Shout out Chaz and Paris.
Shout out to you.
Yes. They're dope. I grew up. Malik is cool too. So yeah. That's about it.
And you know what? I've been thinking about like my mom, because I don't really have that much connection with my mom's side outside of my like immediate aunt. Mm-hmm. But like our larger family has kind of been not scattered. We just our relationship with them has not been really like connected. Mm-hmm. And I would like to change that so that like I can get to know them. But I think you could figure out ways in which you'll be comfortable to do it on your own time.
Sure. Yeah. That's a possibility. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I won't figure anything out.
That is also always a possibility.
Anything. Jesus. I don't know what this feedback is, but it's
our hot sexiness bleeding through the speakers.
Maybe. South Carolina. Shout out. Yeah, that's what's up. How about you? When would you like to and when would you like to do a big family reunion? Lord knows y'all are roaming this earth like a plague.
Whatever. We are the opposite of a plague, whatever the opposite of that is. We are bringing joy and love and goodness to every land we meet.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would say remember I told you I wanted to go to Ghana for my birthday next year?
Sure.
Although, like, I have switched that. I don't want to go to Ghana. I want to go to, not for my birthday. I want to go as, like, a birthday trip to go in December because it's during December, and that's when like all the stuff is happening. So you don't have to like you don't necessarily have to find events. So whatever you would want to do. So well, if I get like a bunch of my family to come to Ghana, like, and hang out with me for my birthday, that would be really cool. And I think that like I said, like I would love to be able to reconnect more with my American family members. Because I know a lot of them, like, honestly, if I walked past them and I wouldn't see them, I wouldn't know they were, which I don't like that. I feel like, I would like to at least have a visual representation of people that I share, genetics with. And, like, they probably have stories that I don't know, that I would love to know more about. When I was a kid, I always used to love hearing, like, my Nana and my mom, talking, and my aunt or whatever, talking about our family. So I would love to be able to get more perspectives and, like, learning more that I might not have known. And so if I did that, I would probably want to do it in South Carolina. What?
The board.
What do you want me to do to the board?
No, the board. For the list of topics.
Well, we're gonna be freestyling it. We're gonna be Fritz fine.
This is gonna be an interesting podcast. We normally have.
It's
oh
fine.
My goodness!
It's fine. It's just if it feedbacks, like there's nothing we can do.
Anyhow, so is that your answer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, no, I wasn't done because you mentioned the board and I got distracted. I would want to do South Carolina with my family here. So you could go back to like my family land. It's somewhere around there. I've never seen it.
Sure.
And see places where like my family grew up, and my pop grew up, and all that. Because I think that would be really cool.
Okay, cool.
And time, I don't know. Within 2 years. I don't know.
Within 2 years?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, sure.
All right, my question. What is the best invention of any kind?
I would probably say the internet. The internet has yes. I would say the internet because it has made every aspect and every industry more enhanced in one way or another. Somebody said the AC. I'm sure that's fine. But I would say the internet, mainly because we can just do so much with it. It's a very versatile tool. We stream on it. We send emails and messages and stuff. As many interviews that I've had over the course of the past few weeks, instead of having to trudge out on a train and head out to these locations in person just to get rejected, it's made it a lot more easier now that I can do it in the comfort of my own home. Just business on the top, party on the bottom, and they're never the wiser. So.
But what about the negative implications of the internet?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
Such as, okay, we'll get into this more later, but like talking about the actors and the writer's strike or whatever, and one part of that has been a big piece of it is ChatGPT and AI, which none of those things would be possible without the internet or other, far-right hate groups and anti-drag campaigns.
I would classify
propaganda.
I would classify that more as social media.
Okay, but you wouldn't have
AI as opposed to just straight up the internet.
But then it's a chicken and the egg situation because we wouldn't have these things possible to do without the internet. You could make an argument that one has led to the other. Yeah.
But I mean, there's been talks of artificial intelligence even before the internet existed, though. It's been all over sci-fi content and everything like that. And as
wouldn't you need to have the internet? Even before, I know that they had to have all these thoughts about it, but wouldn't they have needed the internet in order to do all this AI? Because isn't there, you would need to have a connection of some
Not necessarily. You don't necessarily. An AI program can exist without a network connection. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like software that's generating stuff that you put into it.
Like your Microsoft Office didn't need internet before.
Right. It could just exist as its own piece of software. Okay. I also see TV. Does that say audio?
Radio.
And I also see phone. So those are some really good inventions. What about you?
The Diva Cup. Or any kind of...
Gross.
That's not gross.
It is gross.
There's nothing gross about the Diva Cup.
I mean, it is inherently gross.
No, it's not. Why is it gross?
Yes, it is. It's gross.
Why?
You mean why?
Are you saying that a menstrual cycle is somehow gross?
As far as a revolutionary piece of technology, you're saying that the Diva Cup outweighs like...
Have you personally ever
I've never had to use
change a pad and or tampon?
So then why not a pad or a tampon?
Because they're fucking gross and disgusting and horrible.
So a pad and a tampon can be gross, but a Diva Cup can't be gross?
No, because the reason why...
It can't be inherently gross?
The reason why pads and tampons are gross, it's not because they're the act of, like, the product themselves is gross and you should throw it away if you touched it. It's more about, like, when you're using it, it's fucking feeling terrible. You're either fucking walking around with a huge soggy diaper, or like a tampon, like it just doesn't make you feel good wearing it. Like it's not awesome compared to the Diva Cup, where when used correctly and with like a good brand, you will feel a reduced amount of anxiety and discomfort during your menstrual cycle. And so I personally think that it is a great invention after having to go 20 plus years using these.
I'm not saying it's not a great invention. I don't know if you would categorize it as the best invention.
It's the best invention for people who have periods. And seeing as you don't, I don't know if you are qualified to vote.
I think that technology is limited in its user base. Anybody can use the internet. Just saying.
Sometimes you need to be exclusionary.
Sometimes you need to be exclusionary. As far as the best invention.
It's the best invention in my book.
The best invention.
It's the one that popped into my head
only
first.
half of people can use.
And the half that can use it, love it. It's amazing.
All right. Well.
I mean, okay. How many people?
If you like it, you love it.
Only half.
If you like it, you love it.
Only half the people, if I mean, and that I'm sure could even be debated, have access to the internet. So there are plenty of people around this world who we have this great invention. They can't even use it because they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the money, they don't have the tools and the resources. So I mean, there's always going to be somebody
half
excluded.
the people.
There are so many people in this world.
Larger swaths of people can use the internet more than a Diva Cup. I'm just saying.
No.
Yes.
That's not true.
You
will probably have a likelihood of finding a Diva Cup somewhere in some far ass remote village.
I challenge that notion
because it's the possibility that like if say a person, not a missionary, but like say someone who's doing some sort of like NGO work or whatever, they're coming out, they're trying to find ways to make sure that the people in that area have healthy, sanitary ways to take care of themselves during their period, because in some places those products are really difficult to come by. All of a sudden, Diva Cup or Honey Pot donates 1 million Diva Cups or whatever the cups are called in different companies, and boom, you would be able to get that person having a Diva Cup before you might be able to get them having the internet.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. I'm going to have to just wash my hands with this entirely.
Thank you, James.
Move right along.
Less than half the world has reliable access to the internet. So.
It doesn't. Just access does not make necessarily something great or the best.
Okay, so then
as
that
far as
means
invention.
if somebody does not have access to the Diva Cup because it's not for them to use, that doesn't make it any less great.
We're talking about like revolutionized technology.
That is, the Diva Cup is 100% a revolutionary
the internet
technology.
is a revolution.
Do you know
It's
what women?
changed
Do you know what
industries.
people with
literally has created
used
jobs.
to do before the invention
know
of
what
all
anybody
these
used to do before the
products?
internet?
They
We
used to have
hit a
freaking
stick
belts
with a
that you had to
fucking
clip
hoop
these
down the road.
huge
We
pads
used to make
on,
dolls and play
and
with
then
Lincoln
you had
logs.
to change it. No.
We used to stare at each other. That's all we used to do before the fucking internet.
Before we
And
had
then
the internet,
has led to
we
like
would talk to each
streaming
other
companies,
and we would
internet
discuss
companies,
things. We would make photos
a
on
whole wide
walls.
cellular.
We would
do we
sit
get
in,
like
in
the cellular
mausoleums
infrastructure
and have
without the internet?
discussions.
It's been like revolutionized in other industries. This isn't even supposed to be comparing. It's apples and oranges entirely. It's wildly apples and wildly different oranges.
I accept your answer, and you accept my answer.
I accept your answer. I'm
That's
just
all
gonna
we
roll with
needed.
it. I'm just gonna roll with it. All right.
All right. So
Are you ready for the pop culture section?
I am. We're gonna have to. So we don't have our usual board this week. So we're gonna be winging it.
Yes.
And I'm glad. Ooh, I don't know what is causing this.
I have no
feedback.
idea either.
It's very obnoxious. But you know what? We're doing it. Okay. One. Let's talk about the strikes that have been happening.
Okay,
in
so
the writers with the SAG writers and actors. Let's get down to business.
So shout out to the writers who have been on strike for a while now. They've been on the strike for several months, trying to improve their conditions, their living wages, their just trying to overall improve the quality of living for writers in Hollywood. This week, the SAG-AFTRA. The actors have joined the group chat,
Yes.
basically, and have gone on strike as well. So Hollywood, for the most part, is
In shambles.
is shut down.
Did you see Fran Drescher giving a speech?
As a response to what Bob Iger said,
Yeah, because Bob Iger, who I believe he makes $650 million a year,
something like that.
Was basically saying that these
this
writers,
is not the time or the place to be striking.
they're trying to make them go broke, blah blah blah, and I'm like, this is why I feel very strongly about socialism. That it's not that, like, there could be a mix. Like, we could have a mix of socialism and capitalism in our society. But the fact that someone can make $650 million a year and not have to use that money to make sure that, like, not even the whole world is doing better, but the people in his
Orbit.
like in his field, that he doesn't have to redistribute that to them, and he's allowed to just hoard it and then pay them even less, is infuriating. And it makes me, like, I mean, on one hand, I was thinking about this today, like, the writers, the actors, they went on strike in response to what Bob Iger said, but they also went on strike because there have now been talks with different companies, and some companies have already been doing it, like Marvel, where they are trying to hire an actor for one time. They'll scan them with the AI, and create
Netflix.
Yes. They'll scan them, and then they'll be able to use that
their likeness
in perpetuity.
Yes.
And that could mean now, 100 years from now, 200, whenever, however long we have these platforms, they could use it, and then you might get whatever the day rate is for your role, and then that's it, and there's no way to get royalties because that's just a one-time thing.
I read that there was an article about the cast of the Orange is the New Black series from Netflix. Their deal was so shitty that they can barely pay. A lot of those people can barely pay rent based off of the residuals that they're receiving from that program. And that was a mega hit back in the day. Like, that was, like...
There's no reason all of them shouldn't be...
Prior to streaming, a lot of actors on, like, network sitcoms or network television shows or whatever like that, they would negotiate for deals where they would get points on the back end for any time their, program was replayed, put into syndication, that kind of thing, right? And that was a good way to, make some, income coming in after they would get the initial payment for whatever their role was, and they can negotiate for however much on the back end they can get as far as, recouping residuals. It's a lot harder now in the age of streaming, especially because streaming services are notorious for hoarding data and analytics. So they're not forthcoming with how well a show is doing. Hell, it took us how long before we got a next Netflix thing to say what their top 10 thing is? And even then, I still don't necessarily believe it. Like, I don't necessarily believe that whatever is on Netflix's top 10 is actually the top 10 streaming thing on Netflix. I'm about to pull it up. You go, but I'm about to just pull it up just to see
Kimiko Glenn, who, if you remember, she was the girlfriend to Pusey, the young Asian woman who I think she went into her character in the show got arrested for doing like eco-terrorism or something like that. She said that she has earned $27.30 in residuals from the show. And even when she was on the show, she still had to have a second job just to live. What's his name? Kendrick Sampson, who we just watched in I Am a Virgo, a great show that talks about greed and capitalism and why we need to have changes because of these systems that we're in. But he was in that show recently. He's been in a lot of different things, Insecure, Vampire Diaries, etc. He was showing on his Instagram, he showed about how he had made $86 in residuals from several years worth of work. And this has been happening all over. Fran Drescher made a great speech. Go watch it. If I forgot to send it to you to play. No. But it's fine. You can go look at it because she deserves a place. Someone put it to the ether beat. So you should watch that one.
Top 10 in Netflix right now. Hack My Home, Suits. Suits.
That's been top 10 for a few weeks now, and I've been very confused. Is it because of Meghan Markle's been in the news a lot or something? Is it actually top 10, or is it something where Meghan's hey, can we not
I don't even know if it's based off the strength because she wasn't on that show forever, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many seasons Meghan Markle
I think it was 2 or 3.
But that show ran for a decade. It was one of those
5 or 6 years maybe.
5 or 6 years?
I feel like it was 5 or 6.
Do you want to bet?
No, I don't want to bet. But I don't think it was that long.
I'm looking it up.
But either way,
2011 to 2019.
I'm surprised it was on that long.
It was. It was on longer than Burn Notice.
Yeah, it was longer.
That was back when USA used to have all these long-running character-driven television shows that everybody would gush over, but then I would watch it and I'd be like, this is extremely formulaic. They have this maybe overarching story, but then most episodes would just be some filler bullshit. Psych. Oh my god, Sam loved Psych. He used to rub my head because the main character rubbed Gus's head, and I'd just be like, don't do that to me ever.
That show wasn't bad. But okay, sorry, back to the strike. So Cheryl Lee Ralph, everyone's auntie, she tweeted out the contract has expired, and it was January 13th at 3:01 Cali time. And so it's just like she has been one of the handful of stars who have been talking about the picket lines. Some of them have been joining the picket lines, of course. And I'm reading the AP, and they said that the issue is one of the many actors have in common with writers. For both of them, the move to streaming and triple effects have also meant shorter seasons of shows with longer gaps between them, which means less work, and that the inflation is outpacing the scheduled pay bumps in their contracts, and that they are afraid of the threat of unregulated use of artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I agree. I don't think anyone should... There's no time where someone should be able to just scan you, pay you for that day, and then be able to use your likeness for as long as...
I would negotiate, like, a thing where it's any... Oh my God, this is annoying. Anytime my likeness is used to...
Yeah, that's the thing. If you want to do something like that, then I have to be in the contract knowing that I'm going to get paid every time you use my likeness. Mm-hmm. That I am going to have a say in whether or not there are certain things I will and will not do. Because if, like, the same way that, like, Cicely Tyson, in the 70s and when she was becoming a star and she said no maids and waitresses or like being a sex worker or something like that. Like, she had very strict rules on what she would do. Now, I need to be able to not only get paid for my work each time, but be able to have a say in my work.
Yes.
And what's going to happen, because I'm not going to just allow you to do anything to me.
Right.
And I think that is a very important part, I feel like, for an actor, to have that freedom as a creative person, like to have that freedom to know that you are choosing the type of roles you want to be in, or at least if you're going to give someone the ability to, like, use your likeness in something, it's not going to be something that you would have been like, oh no, I would have never done that. As best as you can. Because honestly, at a certain point, they could just be doing, like, season 100 of Grey's Anatomy and having Jesse Williams and everybody else still, like, in the cast, even though, like, Sandra Oh and has probably, hasn't been working in 30, 40 years. So I don't know. It's just... I think that this is a slippery slope. I think that the actors and the writers deserve better. They are giving all these people entertainment. They're giving all the money, and they deserve to get paid.
Well, we wish the actors and the writers and everybody who is on the front lines right now the best of success.
Yeah. And I think more people, we need a general strike.
A general strike?
Everyone needs to go on strike.
Everyone?
Everyone
everywhere?
Everyone everywhere all at once. We just need it. Because the thing is, companies work with...
I'm on an involuntary strike right now.
Companies are fueled by the people who work for them. That a kingdom is not the kingdom because of the king. It's because of everyone else that is adding to that space. And it's not... I don't think it is a terrible thing to have someone has a company and has amassed this wealth or whatever through something they've produced and have overseen and blah, 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 blah. If you are someone who's been able to create something and seen it through and grown it larger and blah, 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 and are able to withstand the different changes in the industry and all that, I'm not thinking that you shouldn't be able to amass money and wealth from that. However, you should also not be hoarding that in such a way that the people who are working for you are getting pennies on the dollar compared to you just because you feel like your job is more important. One thing that I've noticed, even though, like, a boss will not say that they don't do the same amount of work. The work is just very different than someone who's, like, an entry-level employee. But everyone's job is important in a company, from the person who refills the waters to the CEO to, like, the janitors to your developers, to all these people. They all matter, and we shouldn't be allowing companies to pretend like they can just do what they want, pay you garbage, and get away with it. We just need a general strike. Everybody.
Okay.
Watch I Am a Virgo. And you're going to open your mind.
Oh.
No.
Anyhow.
I was watching because it was a good show, but also I think it did have good explanations of just how in certain ways companies and corporations bleed you dry.
Yes. On the topic of the actors and writers, the Emmy nominations came out recently.
Oh shoot, they did.
Yes, they came out this week, and
There was a lot of controversy around these.
Yes, there was a lot of controversy around these. I will say, I'm looking forward. Well, because one of my friends one of my friends who's on Instagram is also in SAG-AFTRA. SAG-AFTRA. I'll never be able to say it correctly, but they were talking about they posted like the rules of remaining on strike and what kind of work they can get and what kind of work they can't get. Because
I was looking today because Francesca Ramsey, she's been an influencer and a YouTuber for a long time. She was posting up about how if you are a scab and you cross the picket line, you are not eligible for entrance and the membership. Yeah, which I feel like is I agree, but also it's like this is like a shitty thing because on one hand that anyone who would be breaking a picket line, I think most people would be doing that because they just need a break, and it's like, unfortunately, you've been working so hard for something, like, you need a job, you need to pay your bills, and someone's offering you probably more money than they would have otherwise, and there's more space because all the good people are gone, then, like, you had that opportunity, but to know that for the rest of your career, you're not going to be a part of the very important membership to be able to do the work you want to do and be respected by your peers. It's a big risk. So,
actors are able to do award shows.
Oh, because do you need to be a SAG member to participate in award shows?
No, well, if you're a SAG member, there's I'm looking at the list of things that you can and can't work on. Mm-hmm. So here's a list of things that you can't work on if you're in SAG. Let's see. On camera work: acting, singing, dancing, stunts, puppeteering. Off camera
puppeteering.
Yeah, puppeteering work as well. Off-camera work, no voice acting, no narrating, no singing, no ADR, no looping. This also includes background acting, stand-ins, auditions, including self-tapes.
Auditions?
Yep, rehearsals, publicity. This includes conventions, interviews, tours or promotions via social media or any struck work or struck companies.
Did you see that?
It's off limits until we get a fair deal. So I assume there's going to be a lot of actors flooding into podcasting.
Well,
we might see another podcasting boom after this.
Did you see that Cillian Murphy and some of the cast at the Oppenheimer premiere this last weekend? They won the actors.
Oppenheimer.
What did I say?
Oppenheimer.
I honestly, I would tell you this. I have seen the promotion about both this movie and Barbie because they've been talking about it so much on social. But I watched the trailer once, but I have never seen the thing. I still want to see the movie because I think it's going to be interesting, and I really like Cillian Murphy. But I honestly, I could not tell you the right way to say this damn movie's name. But what is it? Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Cillian Murphy and some of the cast walked off out of the premiere when the actors announced that they were going to be on strike. I know Cillian Murphy's ass was excited because he fucking hates doing any kind of
press and stuff like that. I personally hate doing press as well. If I was in SAG, this would be a great time for me. I would be a hog in shit. I hate having to go, the idea of going on a late night show, coming up with fucking anecdotes and shit.
You wouldn't even have to come up. They come to you naturally.
No, they have, like, it's always... Yes, it comes to me naturally, but, like, I have to go out and chill for some fucking Garfield movie or some bullshit, you know? Like, some you know, me as, like, the third or fourth string character in something, because, like, it's not like I'm a leading man.
You don't know that.
Thing. But we're talking about the Emmys right now.
Yes, okay, so I'm going to go over who got most of the... Because one thing I saw people talking about a lot about the Emmy nominations was that certain series got a lot of nominations, which were Succession, The Last of Us, and White Lotus. Like, they were basically in every category.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say, I think, like, best drama series, Better Call Saul got a shout out, which I think is good, and so did Andor, which I feel like is good and I've enjoyed.
Andor was really good. Like, Star Wars hasn't been good for a long time, and Andor is just, like, the one bright spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. I liked it, and I liked that it was a little bit darker than most of them that you get to see. I feel like, you know, the other, like, the best supporting actor and actress are very heavy with White Lotus. But Rhea Seehorn from Better Call Saul got one, which is, again, I like that one. But big ups to Quinta Brunson, because Abbott Elementary is nominated for Best Comedy Series. Also, Ted Lasso, Barry, and Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is a good show.
Quinta Brunson is nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress in a comedy series. I don't think she's going to win it.
I hope she does. I mean, like, she's going up against Christina Applegate, Rachel Brosnahan, Natasha Lyonne, and Jenny Ortega.
Everybody loved Jenny Ortega in Wednesday.
Everyone loved her in Wednesday.
They were TikToking that fucking dance.
But I also feel like, in my personal opinion, I have watched all these shows.
Ridiculous.
Well, except for Dead to Me. I haven't watched that one yet. But I would say I can see all of these actresses. I enjoy all of them. And I feel like each of them has, like, a little piece of, like, oh, I really like them in this or that. But I feel like Quinta Brunson, like, has just done something so special with Abbott that, like, I would love to see that win. Best Actor, Bill Hader got a nom for Barry, and Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso.
Sudeikis.
What did I say? What is it?
Sudeikis is what you said. It's Sudeikis.
Sudeikis. Well, thank you for correcting
Shout out to Ayo Edebiri for her outstanding supporting actress in a comedy series. Ayo has been, ever since I met Ayo, like, doing comedy in New York, she's awesome. She's amazing. There's other adjectives that I would love to use, but I'm not going to use my public forum to fawn over this woman.
She's
who
great.
Probably forgot who the fuck
She
I
didn't
was
forget you. She still knows who you are.
She did a Park Dope show once.
Park Dope!
Shout out to
you, Park Dope. Shout out to you, Kaz.
Yes, she did a Park Dope show once. And, boy, oh boy, she was an amazing talent. But also Janelle James also got a nomination, as well as Shirley Ralph.
And Tyler James Williams got one.
That show is amazing. That show, I might put that on later.
We have to watch the show Shrinking because Jessica Williams is in it.
I already started watching it. You already knew that. I don't know why you're trying to...
No, I did not know that.
Yes, you did.
Because I explicitly said I wanted to watch that show.
That's what you said when you found out that I was watching it. And that's why I haven't revisited the show ever since. Because I was watching it, and you were like, I told you bye. And I haven't finished the season. I would like to. I would like to know what happens.
Well,
I've just been left hanging.
Anyway,
it's really good.
It's curious that, so Beef is going to be back in the news because it has an Emmy nomination for the Best Limited or Anthology Series.
Anthology.
What did I say?
I said ontology.
Oh, Anthology. I would like to watch Beef, but I don't want it to get any ratings from me watching it. just because I'm having weird feelings about the whole, like, and it's annoying because I really like all of the cast. Well, specifically Ali Wong and Steven Yeun. I really like them. But it just gave me a bitter taste in my mouth. Both.
It really just goes to show you how one person can really fuck it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing deep dives on different series and stuff, and there's this trope on TV tropes called Harsher in Hindsight.
Say it one more time.
Harsher in Hindsight. It's basically where, like, going back and watching a show for a particular reason or particular theme is a lot harsher because of future events or later events. Like, for instance, I always say, whenever I bring this up, the barbecue sauce episode of The Cosby Show.
Yes.
Which I'm sure everybody loved back in the day.
But
it was
now
like, oh, look, it's cute. Like,
yeah.
He made some Huggy Buggy sauce to make sure that Denise and her husband would stop fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Years later, it's like, oh no, it's so much worse knowing what we know about Bill Cosby now that in the show, there's an episode where he drugs his family with an aphrodisiac to get them to fucking get horned up. And it's, recently I was deep diving into, because I was gonna go back and watch Arrested Development.
Oh, yeah.
But... So, do you remember in Arrested Development where the running gag was George Sr. was in prison and, they would say, no touching?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's harsher in hindsight knowing that Jeffrey Tambor has sexual assault allegations on him.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
damn.
Yeah.
You know what? I forgot the Jeffrey Tambor situation was touching. I was mixing him up. I not mixing him up, but I was like thinking about his situation as similar to Bill Murray's, where Bill Murray got in trouble, but it was just because he was being an asshole, jerk.
Yeah.
And what's his name from Community? From National Lampoon's Vacation. Chevy Chase
was being an asshole.
Both of them were just being an asshole. So it's like watching it. It's like, ugh, like you were being an asshole, but like I can get past an asshole situation, but like I can't get past someone who's being like physically abusive.
Yes.
And like it does piss me off because there are so many times I want to watch something, and like there might be some times where I'll make like an exception if I feel like I enjoyed like when I wanted to watch Jack.
Yes. Because
even though it skeeves me out having to see Cosby in anything, I love Robin Williams and I love that movie so much. And like, but watching it with him, it does like...
It is weird.
It's weird.
It rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. But it's like I still, like that movie in itself was so good when you taking him out of it, you know, it's just like very frustrating that we even have to do that because I just want to be able to fucking watch these old shows and be like happy about them. But back to the Emmys. Beef. Maybe I'll get to you. Maybe I won't. Thankfully, you know.
Shout out to Kumail Nanjiani for Best Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series or TV movie. For
oh yes, Welcome to Chippendale. That was a really good.
That was really good.
Really, really good doc. He did a great job for that. Okay, Daniel Radcliffe, you know, my Harry Potter boo. He is nominated for the Weird of the Al Yankovic story. I want to watch it because I didn't see it.
Where is it?
I don't know. I feel like I heard about it so often, but I didn't watch it. Let's see. Anyone else? Oh, Ray Liotta, one of his last movies.
It's streaming on Roku channel. And
come on.
Look.
Come on.
Look.
How is that a show that
I'm never gonna knock a streaming service for trying to, you know, do what they gotta do to get, like, names in the door.
Yeah.
Because, like, look, we make fun of Tubi all the time, but Tubi got some movies.
Tubi has a show that I want to watch, which is basically a bunch of studs in a house.
No.
I want to watch it.
You can watch it by
I
yourself.
would like to watch it.
You can watch, and you would like to watch it by
It's
yourself.
like Bad Girls Club, but they're studs.
No, thank you.
What?
No, thank
Why
you.
not?
No, thank you.
I feel like it's going to be
No, thank
really,
you.
really good.
No, thank you. I'm sure it will be. No, thank you. You've already fucked up my algorithm with Super Drag. And
Super Drag is cute and campy.
I cannot get past the fact that the dubbing on it is horrible. They don't sync the lips.
The dubbing is very weird. But
it's
when
awful.
you're just like allowing it to be its campy, ridiculous self, it like, you know.
They also, like, there was a one scene where basically one of the main heroes commit sexual assault.
Okay, that
on
did
an unconscious
happen.
body, and I'm
That
just like,
did happen.
that's perpetuating a horrible stereotype that gays are
So this was
fucking.
This
predators.
was my thing. I'm very curious about who has written this show, because on one hand, to me, I was like, it feels very campy, so maybe they're just trying to harken back to that, like, you know, when Divine was making movies and being ridiculous and not.
This is not that old of a show.
No, this show is very new.
It's not very new. It's relatively new.
Well, it's relatively new. But I was just thinking maybe they're just trying to be like super campy and ridiculous. Because I did have that thought about like, is this show perpetuating certain stereotypes about gay people, about drag queens? And I was like thinking perhaps because it's not an American show, it looks like there's either speaking in like Spanish or Portuguese. I honestly can't tell. And I was thinking perhaps like the culture in some other places in this world, the cultures are different and what they see as like good or bad is a different perspective. So I'm curious if like maybe in that culture they don't see something like that as
sexual assault.
As sexual assault. And so like it's just like adding in. But that was definitely something that I was kind of thinking about. But on the other hand, it's like I feel like there's a campiness part of it that's like fun. But I want to find out who made the show, because if it's gays that made it, then I'm like, okay. But if it's straights that made it, then I'm not going to be then we're going to have some issues. Anyway, the other two, which is another good show, they got nominated.
They just got
something.
Canceled because of a creep.
Speaking of creeps, I don't know. They said it was a toxic work environment, which is very sad because the show is very good. And it was kind of like a parody of Hollywood. Not even a parody, taking the stuff that happens in Hollywood and then like exaggerating it. So yeah, I guess it was a parody. Which makes it even sadder that they would have had these issues. But Prey. Is Prey that one we watched? That was the new.
Yeah, that was the.
That
Predator.
was good.
Yeah, that was the Predator.
They got best writing for limited or anthology series or TV movie.
Oh,
is
yeah,
that the
TV
right
movie? It's a TV
I guess it was a TV movie.
Yeah,
that was a good movie. I liked that one.
It was solid.
So there was some discussion about like The Last of Us and Succession. Being and the White Lotus being like the main nominations.
Why not? They're good.
Yeah, they are, but do you ever think that it's weird that sometimes there are shows that are only promoted on certain networks are getting these nominations? Like, do you feel like...
I mean, if they're making quality work, like, it's not phoning it in.
No, that's understandable, but do you ever think there's a conversation to be had about, like, who's having... The same way with the Grammys.
Sure.
Where, like, Beyonce will never win Grammy of the Year, right?
No.
Because those people are not listening to... They're not tuned in to her music, or really, they're just very specific. Do you ever feel like sometimes that happens with these shows? Because it's not to say, I think Succession, The Last of Us, and The White Lotus are all good shows, but are they the best in comparison to every show that has been out, or is it just that they have had the most access to those shows because they're already predisposed to, like, you know?
Well, yes, there's a discussion
to
yes,
those
there's a
type
discussion
of
to be had.
platforms.
I mean, Snowfall got snubbed, so like that show was a beast on FX. Damson Idris acted his ass off in that final season. Like,
yeah, he did.
if that couldn't get a nomination, I don't know what the hell is going on.
But I think that's something that was coming up on Twitter, so I was just curious of your thoughts. Because people were just like, how come this... I think that Succession, to me, I thought it was a good show. Even though I had not started watching it from the beginning, I was always like a popping in and out more towards the last 2 seasons. So I started watching because you would be watching it and like got very into the characters. The Last of Us, of course, even though it scared the shit out of me, I loved it. I thought the episodes were really great. I'm looking forward to the next season, even though I know it's going to be more scary than the first one. The White Lotus, I will say, I watched the first one. I have not started the second season. I don't even know if I finished the first season. Not because it wasn't good, but that was one of those shows where I liked it a lot, so I was trying to hoard it. But, you know, we'll see. I just hope, honestly, I'm glad that the Abbott Elementary has gotten some recognition.
I will say, I was surprised that Jury Duty got a nomination for best comedy.
Yeah.
Because and it's really good. I loved it, but like that was more reality bent.
Yeah.
But
I mean, sometimes that happens. I feel like
a hidden show. You know what I mean? Like a hidden camera show.
I feel like sometimes those shows like sneak in because people are like, it was so interesting. It was so different. Wow.
It was interesting and it was different, and I did say wow.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
Let's see. For the reality shows, talk shows, Trevor Noah, which the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, which was his last year doing it, right?
Yeah, he's already gone.
So that one is, of course, I hope. Well, I hope they win. They had a lot of good guests.
I mean Last Week Tonight should be nominated.
Last Week Tonight
with John Oliver.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Yeah,
because I'm looking at it, and maybe it doesn't because it's not a daily type show, because it's only on weekly. Maybe that's why it didn't get a nomination.
Out of these, I would say the only one that I really watch. I mean, I do like The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And I like The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. I have not watched The Problem.
Seth Meyers.
I do like his clips when I see them, but that one's I'm not like tuned into that one. And I haven't watched The Problem with Jon Stewart. I would say I like Jon Stewart, so probably I'm sure that they're doing a good job.
For Best Animated Program, it should definitely go to Primal. Genny Tartakovsky's Primal.
Oh, but it's not on here. Oh, wait. No, I see it. Sorry.
Yeah. That the animation, the story, it's basically...
Primal is really good, but I liked Intergalactic.
It literally tells a story without saying a single word.
It does. I will say Primal does have that on it, but I don't know. I liked the story of Intergalactic. Isn't that the Kid Cudi one?
Yes, that is the
Kid Cudi. I liked that with Jessica Williams. It was a cute little love story, and it had all good music, and it was very black.
Yes.
And the animation was really dope. Yes. The story was good.
Yes.
But I mean, Primal, I would say if Primal won over Intergalactic, I wouldn't be mad. Because I think that show, even though it's like not a dialogue heavy show, is still really good. Bob's Burgers, of course I love Bob's Burgers, so I'm never gonna be mad if they win. Rick and Morty is not my favorite. It's not that my favorite. It's not my cup of tea. So I watch it when it's being watched, but I would doubt that I would put it on my own because it stresses me out sometimes. But I can't deny that it does have good animation. They do good storytelling. It's a very layered show. So that was good. Oh, okay. Love is Blind is nominated for a Emmy. And I might have to give it to them. Because
Terrible.
I would say Diners,
Terrible.
Drive-Ins, and Dives because it's for best structured reality program.
I would give it a Queer Eye before I would give it to Love Is Blind. For sure.
Well, speaking of the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Guy Fieri was pictured hugging up on fucking Trump at some gathering.
How is that surprising? He looks like he would be a Trump supporter.
You know, he does, but I always just, like, had hope. Oh, Hocus Pocus 2 is got nominated for Best Television Movie. Did you like Hocus Pocus 2?
It was alright.
They're making a third one.
I know they're making a third one.
I'm going to watch it.
It was fine.
A Black Lady sketch show is nominated for Best Scripted Variety Series, but they fucking canceled them for the next season, which is bullshit. How are you going to have somebody be...
there it is. Best Scripted Variety Series. That's where Last Week Tonight is? I guess that makes sense if that's where Saturday Night Live is.
Yeah, I guess he's not daily, because the other ones were daily shows.
Yeah.
Well, I hope a Black Lady sketch show gets it, because I feel like they deserve it. The Black Lady sketch show is very fun.
Have you finished the final season?
No, we were watching it together.
We watched the third season. We have not watched any of the fourth season.
Oh. Well, I really like the show, so I'm sure I will love the fourth season.
Sure. You say so.
Did you watch Trevor Noah? We did. We watched it.
What?
The Trevor Noah special. I Wish You Would. We watched it.
Yeah. But if anything, first off,
John Mulaney's Baby J is on there.
Yeah, Baby J was
really good.
That was really good. Yeah, that was really good. Ooh, look, we've spent a lot of time on the Emmy nominations.
Oh, we have. But you know who we didn't talk about, who I want to shout out? I was going to save this for what makes me happy, but we're talking about him now. Kavan Woodard, the little boy who played Sam Burrell in The Last of Us, has been nominated for his first ever acting gig. This is Black Deaf Boy Joy, or Deaf Black Boy Joy. So, and this was also good for Disability Month, but shout out to him because he won that. He's gonna win. I hope so. Fingers crossed, because he did amazing.
He knocked it out of the park, I will say.
All right, but what were you saying?
I was saying that we have 3 minutes to move things along.
There was some other stuff that we could talk about, like Boosie being a terrible father and Blueface being a terrible father.
He's a terrible father.
But honestly, like, you know, Blueface was shaming his son for not looking at strippers that he had around his house. And he's 6 years old, and he was just trying to eat a Slim Jim, and he was questioning if he was gay. And then Boosie apparently repossessed his daughter's car after she left to go to ATL because her mom filed child support papers against him, and then her mom was involved in an accident. She went to go to her mom to help her out. He was upset, and so he is getting back at her because her mom filed child support papers, and I feel like, you know,
it's petty.
Yeah, it is. Any parent who decides to stop supporting their child or gifting their child things because they are being asked to pay child support, you need to rethink your life, because that has nothing to do with your child. You paying child support is a direct consequence of you not being in a relationship with your partner anymore, and you're now dissolved the relationship. So unless you're going to be living in the house and taking care of your child every day with your partner, like, shut up and pay the money. If I had a child and they were living with my partner, my ex-partner, I would just pay them whatever the money is, because whatever I'm paying is not even going to be the same amount of money that the person living in the house or whatever is paying for them. Like, and I understand that allegedly she, like, had been maybe staying with her father or whatever, and he's mad about it. But I'm like, these people get mad about people putting them on child support, and I'm like, you should, if you don't want to ever be put on child support, don't have a child. Just don't have a child.
Facts. There you go. Anything else? We got 30 seconds.
Naomi, congratulations to Naomi Osaka and Corday for having their baby. She gave birth earlier
To a baby girl
this week to a baby girl, and the babies. Do they say they have a name? I don't know. Let me see. She did not put a picture of the baby's face, which makes me very happy. I think people should keep their babies secret, and their faces as covered as possible when they're this popular, because you don't want someone stalking you.
Yeah.
But no, I don't see the baby's name here. But either way, congratulations. We're very excited for you. You're going to do so many great things. And I'm so happy that you have a little bouncing baby girl.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Shout out to you, and we wish you so many blessings, and love, and protection over you and that baby, and that you're able to sleep through the night, and that she gets on her sleep schedule real soon, and that she never bites your boobs or scratch you or whatever things babies do, because they are little terrorists.
Yes.
And that you're just having a great postpartum time.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Hope they're doing well.
So we're going to take a quick break.
And we'll be right back with more of the Black and Snerdy podcast.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Black and Snerdy podcast.
We now return to the Black and Snerdy podcast.
Lost without you, can't help myself. How does it feel to know that I love you, baby? Lost without you, can't help myself. How does it feel to know that I love you, baby? That's all I'm giving.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for serenading the pod.
Mm-hmm.
Per usual.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for our mental health segment?
Yes, our mental health segment. This is the segment where we check in with each other mentally. That's basically it. Is there anything else that we need to say about the mental health segment?
Advocates,
we're
not
advocates,
experts.
not experts.
And we like to start it off with a question.
Yes.
That is not the right question. Where is the...
It's right there in front of you. Or
Nope.
that
that's
should
here.
be it.
This is it. When does your father's voice haunt you?
Whenever my father's voice haunts me when I am whenever I am like quiet, or I would say reclusing myself. Making myself shrink a little
What
bit
is your
more.
father's voice saying to you?
Don't do that. Knock that off. Like, not knock it off, but just like, you shouldn't, that's not something that you should do. Be yourself. Let yourself be. Shine. Yeah. That kind
All
of
right,
thing.
well, that's good.
How about you?
I would say whenever, if I've ever made I've had like any financial difficulties or something, like anything around finances, I'll hear my dad's voice like, well, you should have been doing this and not that, and like kind of chastising me for not being more savvy in certain ways or being able to do things financially like he does.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's when I hear it the most.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, thank you to our fathers for
Shout out to the fathers.
thank you for being around to haunt having voices to haunt, being around to give us voices to haunt us whenever we might be feeling a certain type of way.
Exactly. How are you doing this week, mental health wise?
I would say I've been feeling a range of emotions, oscillating between really happy, and then like sad and guilty. which is, I think, not abnormal.
Sad and guilty?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say my overall has been happy. But I think that sometimes I'll feel like guilty or sad because I'll be worried that like I'm doing something, and like I feel guilty about because I'm worrying about other people's feelings and what I think other people might be feeling or might feel because of something I do or don't do or whatever. And so that always like sticks in my mind a lot because I try to be very mindful of how I am interacting with the people around me, and also feeling like I've been a bit stressed about work because I'm always trying to do like my best job, even when I'm not feeling my best. And sometimes I start worrying like, are things that I'm doing different or weird than anyone else would be doing? And it's not. I mean, I was talking to one of my best friends, and I was telling her, like, I was just talking about feedback I had gotten with work and things that I was trying to think about to do differently. And she was like, at one point, like, do you think that you're doing anything different than anybody else? And I know that, like, I feel like one thing about having ADHD that is a struggle in life in general, but like in workplace, is that knowing that the way I might do things might be different, and worrying that I'm going to be being judged harshly or someone's going to be taking like a mistake that I've done or something and making that into a bigger issue is something that weighs heavily on my mind, which is something that stresses me out at work, which is why I have such a perfectionist, like I have a perfectionist thing in me that makes me want to have everything in really perfect, which then just creates more anxiety and me wanting to do taking longer to do something because I'm so worried about it being perfect and not having any mistakes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like I'm trying to work through that. Just because, I mean, one, I know that I have like a thing about feeling capable and especially because I know what I'm capable of. So wanting people to see that and respect that, etc. And that's something that like always plays in my mind when it comes to like work. So that's been like heavy on my mind, but also being mindful of like mistakes that I might make or things that I might be doing are no different than anyone else, and not trying to judge myself so harshly on being like normal. And I think that like having ADHD, I'm so used to being like criticized and critiqued on things that I might be doing that might be a little bit different than someone else, that I try to like overcompensate for that, even at like my detriment. So I've been really trying to figure out what things are going to be most helpful for me to get through the day, and trying to make that work for me. So I've been feeling a mixture of emotions. I'm oscillating between very high highs, some like little dips, and then some little lows. But nothing that I feel like isn't manageable. It's just like I'm trying to not let my anxiety get the best of me in different aspects, like in any area of my life, not allowing the anxiety to run my life, because anxiety is something that like I deal with so often, and which is like why I might like ask so many questions or need to have a lot of information about things, because the more information I have, the better that I can assess the situation and the environment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because I just like to know as much as I can about any situation that I am in, but also not trying to like overwhelm myself and like not stress out about things that might not need to be stressed out about.
Right. That makes sense.
So that's it. Yeah, I just feel I'm feeling like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in an interesting space where I am like, am I doing enough? What could I do more of? And how could I make myself feel like I'm doing my best in these different arenas of my life, but also not trying to like burn myself out, which has been a struggle, because I try to like compensate for things that I might have missed or done differently or had a misstep on or something. But I'm trying to figure out a way that's like balanced.
It makes sense.
So that's it. How are you doing?
Doing all right for the most part. Still unemployed, still looking for work, still applying to hundreds of jobs and getting rejected by a bunch of them. So, I've had a few interviews this week. We'll see if they pan out. We'll see. Hopefully one of the 2 or 3 I hear back from. It would be nice. I need to work soon. We're getting close to. I mean, we're in dire straits right now, so we're not in a great place. But I'm trying to keep my head held high, keep the optimism, and do what I can to move forward positively.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing all that you could do.
I'm doing all
at
that
this
I can
point.
do.
I mean,
I'm
there's
doing
nothing
all that I can do. Yes.
It's not like
yes.
you're doing all that you can do, and unfortunately, what I will say, what I know of the job hunt and the job struggle, is that unfortunately, like, there's so many other people who are just as talented, just as like their resumes are matching yours. It's not even about people who are like, oh, super high up. It's just that there's so many people in a pool who are there, and you're having to wade through all those people, and all these companies have different types of like stupid freaking policies for hiring, et cetera, et cetera. And it just makes it really difficult. And I think that especially now post-pandemic is a very difficult time for people looking for work, because it's just like it takes so much longer to find something in comparison to a few years ago, when it just was like, yeah, this might be annoying or difficult, but like, it's not as stressful, I feel like, as now, because they keep trying to say that there's a recession or a depression coming, whatever. And I feel like so many companies tried to hire all these people during the pandemic and now are walking back. One of my friends just got laid off unceremoniously just last week, or a week or so ago. And it's very frustrating. But I'm always here to root for you, because you're doing the best that you can. And I hope that you recognize that even within all this foolishness, that there's nothing else that you can do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right, what's next? We don't have any RIPs.
Bringing it. What? We griping. We're not griping anywhere else. We be griping. This safe space for us to share. We griping. We ain't griping anywhere else. We griping.
All right, you go
I'm
first.
tired of these scam companies and these insurance companies. National Income Global, or whatever it's called. This is now the 4th time you done tried to reach out to me to try to bring me on to your fucking multi-level marketing pyramid scheme bullshit. I'm not having it. I don't like it. No. And also I'm looking at the thing that you're doing, and I'm not doing that. Because it's there's no real audio. It's just the song playing. So, no. There's no visual.
It goes into
it's a visual thing.
Yeah, but later into it does. There's a whole conversation being had. Anyway, continue.
Anyway,
the MLM marketing.
Yeah, it's a lot of jobs that are like, first off, I'm looking for a job with health insurance, with benefits, with consistent work schedule. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for something where basically it's like, oh, like we'll pay you $500 a week and you'll have to do slave labor. And in a year's time, sell these knives, sell this fucking makeup kit or whatever. So, travel agency bullshit.
Oh, that one was bad.
That one, I knew it was a scam going into it, just because, like, they're looking for suckers. And it's predatory because they're looking for people who are down on their luck and who are just looking to, like, pursue the happiness, this shit, and just try to, put in more work than necessary in the hopes of getting something on the other end. I'm doing research on you. Like, when I finally find out the company that you state that you are, I am Googling you guys, and I'm seeing if y'all are legit or not.
And most of them aren't.
And they're not, so...
They have a janky-ass website, or they have a really good website.
Calling and texting me. Like, no legit job has ever texted me about an interview.
Unless they have an automated system where they'll send you a reminder.
It's just fuck off. Fuck off entirely. I think that's pretty much it for me. What about you?
All right. I guess this might be like a continued conversation from like a few weeks ago or last week. But I just feel like during this last week, I have come into contact with several situations that, like, are people who are hating on black women for doing something that they personally feel like is, like, uncouth. And they are trying to basically push this idea that by a black woman acting a certain way, that is the reason why, the black community is suffering and nobody wants to protect us. And we're just like out here on our own because we're dancing. And it's pissing me off because if you think that just because you saw a person dancing or dressing provocatively, that all of a sudden means that their whole entire gender and their whole entire race no longer deserves protection, or like they shouldn't be anywhere in life because that group that you saw was doing something. There is something wrong with you. Like, nobody is going to convince me that judging a group of people who are notoriously
I can't even get the page so
yeah, it's not opening on mine either. That are underrepresented, that are mistreated and subjugated in a variety of different ways, should somehow also be the harbingers of like death and destruction to this community when they're not the ones who have created the issues in the community. I saw this video of there was a pregnant black woman. She looked like she was at some sort of concert or something, And apparently they were asking people to come up on stage and dance. She comes up on stage, she's dancing, everyone's like, hey, mama, get it, whatever. And then there's another black woman who had been watching the video, and she responds to it saying, like, this is why you want black men to protect you. Meanwhile, you're dancing like this, and this is what's wrong with the black community, and blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, I expect black men to protect me, whether I am twerking, whether I am praying, whether I am teaching, whether I am reading, and whatever I decide to wear, whatever I decide to do, black men should be protecting me because that is my community. And nothing that I do should stop a black man from protecting me. It is unlike black men who are constantly killing and abusing and otherwise threatening black women and black femmes, non-binaries. Like, black cis men are constantly at the threatening, abusing, harassing, killing members of our community. And at no point do these people come out and say, we should no longer support black men because look at what they're doing to our community. But just because a black woman is dancing and pregnant, all of a sudden that means that she is some sort of harlot who doesn't deserve protection. Newsflash, doesn't matter what you're doing with your body, you are allowed to do that and you still deserve protection. Like, that's just, I feel like, a very simple, easy thing that no one should have to explain to you. And it's very frustrating that black women keep being the scapegoats for the reason why the people in their community are not protecting them. And it's dancing. We're allowed to dance. Like, that's a very weird thing that all of a sudden someone's dancing means that they shouldn't be, like, a part of the community because they're dancing too sexy. She was at a concert. She wasn't at a freaking kid's first birthday party. And if she was at her kid's first birthday party and decided to be popping it on a handstand, that is her right to do that. Like, it's very frustrating. I'm very frustrated by this. It just every day another situation pops up in the news or on my social media, and it's just very annoying. And it's not to say that I don't think there's times and place for things. Yes, if you're at a certain event, should you be pussy popping on a handstand? No, probably not. But even if I saw you doing that, that's not going to stop me from wanting to make sure that you are able to live your life free and clear of subjugation and harm. That's it.
Okay. All right, we can move on to things that made us happy.
All right.
Baby merchant, cats are rats. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you.
What's making you happy this week?
I would say what's making me happy is the love and support of my community. People who are willing to having people in my life who are willing and capable of listening to me talk and vent and cry and like feel my feelings about whatever is going on in my life, good, bad, or ugly. I'm very appreciative about that. I'm happy about all the new ways that my life is changing and expanding, and like I'm really like moving into this adulting. That's making me happy. And just having the love of the people in my life is making me happy. And being able to make my own decisions and feel good about them, and to know having those decisions affirmed and respected. I think so. How about
Okay.
you?
Just trying to find the bright spots in an otherwise dark period. Thank goodness for this podcast. Thank goodness for you. Thank goodness for my circle of friends and my family and all that good shit. Yeah, just looking for the bright spots, and there are a few. There are a few bright spots within my life, so I'm grateful for those.
We always should look for the bright spots.
Yes. Anything else?
Look for the lights.
Anything else?
Are you trying to go?
I mean, I'm done with my part.
No, that's it.
Okay, if that's everything, that's everything. Thank you for tuning in to the Black and Snerdy podcast. Of course, we will be back next weekend. On Instagram, we'll send a thing out, let people know when we're on. We might do a thing on Wednesday. Who knows? Otherwise, have a good day and take it easy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snerdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snerdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's that's OD THATSOD.E, and on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Snerdy podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.